Adam Christ from My MMA News, being joined by Scott Suter here at 302 BJJ in Wilmington, Delaware, ahead of his Stellar Fights 45 bout against Wesley Russum. It goes down on February 1st in Harrington, Delaware. First, I got to thank my man for joining me, Scott.
Yes, sir, Adam. All right, man. I've been looking forward to it for a long time in my life. That's for sure. I started watching you, almost a year ago when you started interviewing my son and everybody in the gym, and I thought, oh man, I want that. And we got to know each other, and here we are. So
yeah, man,
I'm happy.
We've gone out. We've spent a little bit of time together. I want to talk about the dynamic first and foremost with. It's a special relationship you have with your son, Ben, right? You both train together. You're both in the gym together. I mean, you both have you fought on the same cards together. Yeah. How is that like being father-son and training in the same gym and watching each other grow? It has to be
wild. It's always been wild from day one, since Ben was 2 years old. Really wild. I've always had a knack for making it look like I'm standing and banging with everybody, but in all reality, I've always let him win. And it looks like it's like a wild exchange, and oh my God, what are you doing to that kid? But in all reality, I was the one getting beaten up, and me letting him win in a way was helping him grow. And to this day, I'm pretty proud of something. I think 14 years in the gym, I have never hurt one person in the gym. And when you sit and watch me in the gym, man, I look wild. I look like I'm standing and banging. And it looks like I might be hurting somebody, but I'm actually not. I just have a really good control of like, let's do it. And it all evolved from Ben and I, all throughout his whole years growing up, me letting Ben win in a way, but kind of putting on a show too. Yeah. And we've been doing that for years. So yeah, it's exciting. And now it's even wilder because Ben has grown past me. I've been doing this for a long time. He's been doing this for a long time, but he's able to channel his brain and actually grow past me. And now it's like I'm learning from him.
And seeing him grow, seeing you guys together, the father-son dynamic, it's really cool to see. But outside of that, I want to talk about you as far as a fighter, because I want to add on something you were saying. You hear the stories of, oh man, Scott, he's that crazy guy. But I've also heard from every single person that you've trained with, because everybody talks that you're one of the best training partners to have. One of the best training partners to have. You can stay in control. You can put it on. You can put the pressure on. I've heard nothing but good things about you, which goes to talk, like you just said, you can stay in your zone, but you have that mentality. Where does that mentality come from? Because you've been throwing different antics. I mean, you look at Dirty Scooter on YouTube. Go ahead. I mean, I've seen all of it. How do you have that craziness mixed with the calm to create the perfect storm?
Wild. It all stems part when 9 years old. My parents were never home. We had a big farm. And literally like 20 heads of kids were coming over, and we had 2 pairs of boxing gloves, and it was get it on, whether we were playing full tackle basketball in a way. It was like, yeah, right, you're shooting hoop, but we're still checking you every which way and throwing you down, and then whatever. So it was a wild thing where it all stemmed from when I was a kid. And I always knew I had kind of a wild life. And then Ben growing up, and then we finally found a gym in PA. And I was wild like the kids now, where it was like, okay, let's stand and bang. We're both cracking. And then something evolved for me where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be dynamic, be wild, but I'm not gonna hurt people. But I wanna give them looks every which way, and also give them a little fun too. Like, I think I'm coming into 302 and I'm bringing a certain dynamic where I'm looking at everybody and say, hey, listen, we don't need to beat each other up all the time. Let's have fun. Let's find your style. Let's find your groove. I think that's how somebody like Conor McGregor is actually successful, is because you can see when somebody's like having fun, or Anderson Silva, they're like, oh, I think it's because they're relaxing. They're like, hey, it doesn't need to be so serious all the time. And I always am focusing on, let me just have some fun. And it helps. Maybe if that makes sense and answers your question. But
Definitely. Okay. Now, speaking on February 1st, you get to have some fun. You get to throw down the cage again. But I do want to talk about your last outing. It was cut a little bit short, right?
Yeah.
So you bounced right back up after the TKO stoppage. but you felt like you were ready to go, everything like that. What corrections have you made in this camp to make sure that that doesn't happen again, to make sure that you're keen into the dirty scooter, the last Neanderthal that we've come to expect?
I am a Neanderthal. I have that wild, crazy style comes with a lot of risks. And granted, nobody's really got to see it in my fights because I just haven't been able to show it. Mm-hmm. My Topolis fight, I just wasn't there. I had a lot of things on my mind. And in fighting, you can't have anything on your mind. You got to be totally sound. Finally, I'm starting to be sound again. Mm-hmm. And with the James Mullen fight, the fight we're talking about, mm-hmm. I was pretty sound. I was ready for that fight. Mm-hmm. Bottom line is, wild and crazy comes with risks, but this time, hands up, hands up, hands up. 302 is teaching me that. The only problem is I kind of have a little bit of a bad habit past 12 years. So I'm breaking bad habits. Hands up, hands up. I still need to have fun, though.
Yeah.
I still do. I just need to limit some of the risks and then wait when my opportunity's ready. Let's have some fun. And I'm ready to get mean. And it's something I want to show everybody. I see it in the gym, but it's still something that's my goal, is I just want to show a wild fight. Winning a fight is the goal for me. It's the goal. Okay, I get that. But for me, I'm kind of an entertainer. I've been entertaining for years. And honestly, I hate to say this, but a good, crazy, fun, exciting fight is more of a win to me than me getting the win. So even if I had got a loss, which I'm not focused on getting a loss,
of course,
but darn it, man, I want to give fans a wild, fun fight. It's very important to me. So, who knows? But this time, let's get the hands up, period. And I'm going to give this for James Mullen. Here's the deal with that fight. I forgot about that fight 1 hour afterwards. Moved on in life. Mm-hmm. Passed.
Yeah.
Passed. Let's go to the present. Let's look to the future. Don't even really think about that fight. Okay. Everybody says, oh, that was a quick fight, quick stoppage. I'm going to tell you this right now. Mm-hmm. 1 second, I was out. Mm-hmm. I know I was out. You know why? Mm-hmm. Because when I stood up, I felt a little wobble in my legs. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give this guy his credit. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. This is MMA. This is fighting. For people that don't know fighting, things like this happen way more often than you would ever expect. Yeah. And already forgot about it. Let's move on and go. And give this guy his credit.
Of course. Yeah, to his credit. But now we have Wesley Russum at hand. Wesley Russum.
All right.
And he is predominantly known as a wrestler. Yeah. He's been wrestling for quite a long time. I talked to him just yesterday. And he talked about his wrestling prowess, his wrestling background. But he does train at a predominant stand-up school in MVJ. Okay, and some dynamic kickboxers there. And actually, when I asked him for a prediction, he said he's looking to keep it standing and wants a TKO stoppage.
Okay, good.
Which that could be said because he understands that you're a stand-up bang kind of guy. Anything could be said and anything could be delivered. What do you take out of that?
I want that. I hope. I'm going to cross my fingers. He's really shooting for that. That's what I want. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about the takedown. I'm not worried about the wrestling. The only thing I'm worried about is, man, I don't want a boring fight.
Yeah.
I do not want a boring fight. If it's a dynamic submission, that's great on either side. Mm-hmm. Okay. Submission game-wise is, I started in grappling. I did 9 years of it. Mm-hmm. It's evolved. Mm-hmm. It is really evolved. Yeah. I mean, you're talking 14 years ago. So I've done my fair share. Mm-hmm. I'm not easy to hold down. Mm-hmm. I'm very squirmy. I don't want to be down there. I'm going to getting up, period. But I'm really crossing my fingers. He's going for that. I want to stand and bang. I want to have a war, and let's go there. If that's what he says he's going to do, he might really be doing that. And good, because I'm looking to, like I said, my brain is clear. I'm ready. I'm not really having to work all this winter. I do all my work in the spring, the summer, and the fall. I'm just in the gym. I put on 4 pounds of muscle, and I'm feeling mean. The one thing I got over a lot of people in these gyms, and especially when they see me in training, I'm a pretty mean dude. I'm ready to put down my jaw, chin down, bite down on my mouthpiece, hands up, and I want to stand and bang. I want to put on a show, and I don't like to predict fights, but I want to hurt him in a violent way, in a respectful way, in a violent way, and take him out. Period.
Well, I don't get to see anything but the nice guy, but I look forward to seeing the violent guy come out on fight night. I'm here with Scott, Dirty Scooter, the Last Neanderthal.
Yes, sir.
Scott Scooter, man, I appreciate you taking the time.
My man.
Stellar Fights 45 goes down in Harrington, Delaware on February 1st. Make sure to get your tickets. Make sure to follow My MMA News, as we'll be there with live results. Scott, best of luck, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, man. Here we go. Stellar Fights 45. Let's rock and roll.
There it is.
All right.